Hi guys, how are you all? I hope you are doing well. I'm going to be doing my February bullet journal. This was requested over on Instagram, so I was really excited to share it with you guys. I've been bullet journaling for about a year now, and I've really enjoyed it. I started it last January, and I picked it up again when the new year came around. So I thought I would show you guys how I lay out my February bullet journal, and it was kind of the perfect day to do it just because I was feeling a little bit anxious, honestly. I'm not really sure where it came from, but I did a little bit of yoga, which helped. I'll go ahead and link down below the YouTube video that I do when I'm feeling a little bit anxious. It's a 20-minute routine with Yoga with Adriene, and it usually helps. And then I went ahead and I made some tea, which is always good to relax. And I knew that bullet journaling has always been kind of therapeutic for me. Just I think art in general, whether you're good or you're bad at it, can be really therapeutic. So I was happy to be making this video today. I felt like it would just keep my mind off of things. So it's really important to kind of set up your creative space how you want it. I always try and have a really clean area, but I do like to light a candle just because I think scent has a lot to do with mood and can really kind of uplift you. And this candle in particular, I know I talked about it in one of my favorites video. I think it has something to do with happiness. It's supposed to promote happiness. So I thought that this would be a good candle to light on a day like today. So when I'm bullet journaling, sometimes I'll watch TV, sometimes I'll listen to music, sometimes I listen to a podcast. And today I thought I would listen to Office Ladies. It's just a really funny podcast and always puts me in a good mood. So I thought I would listen to that while I'm bullet journaling. And by no means, by the way, am I like super good at this or a great artist, but I just find it really therapeutic, like I said, and I've really been enjoying it. So I did already sketch out a little bit of what I wanted to do throughout this month, just because it makes the video go by a little bit faster. It can be kind of a nuisance to plan what you want to do. So when I'm just doing this for myself and not filming, I'll often just go right in with the pen, but I felt like it was a good idea to have things kind of sketched out beforehand. And I find inspiration for my bullet journals just kind of throughout the internet. So sometimes I'll look at bullet journal accounts. Amanda Rachel Lee is a really great one. I believe she's actually taking a break right now, which is totally fine. But she has other videos that you guys can check out. And I also look at Pinterest a lot and kind of come up with my own design based on a lot of different bullet journals that I see, or sometimes just like a recreation of someone's image. But today I'm kind of meshing a whole bunch of images together. I don't know why I wanted to do outer space this month. I just was drawn to it. And I just felt like, yeah, I guess I just wanted to do outer space. It doesn't have anything to do with February. I didn't want to do hearts or anything Valentine's Day related this year. It just didn't really resonate with me. I wanted to do something more fun, and I thought that outer space was pretty cool. So I kind of have these like outstretched hands, and then in the palm of their hands, a few planets, some stars and stuff, which I'll draw in later, and then my very messy, awful cursive that says February. Still haven't quite mastered the whole calligraphy thing. But that's okay. We're just trying and playing around, and this is, like I said, more just like an exploration in creativity and just like having fun and doing what you want to do. So don't ever put too much pressure on yourself. Don't stray away from doing something like this because you don't think you're good at art. It's not really about that. It's just a nice creative space. But since I did kind of outline everything in pencil, I'm going over it in pen and kind of adding whatever details I want to do. Like on these constellations, I'm adding stars on the corner points, and I think it just looks really cute. And then I do go over everything with an eraser once I'm sure that the ink has set. There have been many times where I haven't waited long enough for the ink to set and I end up with a huge smudge. So I can't stress the importance of patience in this process. That's always very frustrating when you kind of have finished up a page and oh man, and you take that eraser to it too soon. But this is my cover page, and for you guys who aren't familiar with bullet journals, cover pages are basically just like your intro to the month. And so the next page is going to be my monthly spread. So this is more like a calendar. Now I've done a lot of different formats before, but I wanted to try a new one. I saw this one on Pinterest, I believe, and it's sort of like a grid-like format. The image that I saw only had like a y-axis, not an x-axis, if that makes sense. But I wanted to add both axes and label them. So one of them, the y-axis, has kind of like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then the x-axis has like week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. So it's kind of like a grid formation. You'll see it's actually vertical, so it makes it kind of easier to read. I'm going to see if this layout works for me. I'm not totally sure it will. In previous months, I've done kind of just like a more traditional calendar, so we'll see. You're also going to see me recounting the squares because they are 5 by 5, and it's always good to double check and count again before you actually make that final line. And here I am just writing in again with my really messy informal cursive, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and all the rest of the days of the week. And then at the top, I'm just going to do all lowercase and kind of like a typewriter-y font. I don't really, oh no, I'm doing uppercase. I lied. I'm doing all uppercase. I'm doing lowercase on the next page, sorry. But yeah, just writing week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, and week 5. And to actually write in the dates of the calendar, I'm going to be using like, I don't even know what to call it. It's kind of like a watercolor pen. It's just like a really lightweight, almost translucent pen, and I'm just writing in the date, so 1, 2, and 3, 4, all the way to 29 for February. And this is just so that I know kind of what day it is. Now, like I said, this is a new format to me, so I don't know if I'm going to like this. I don't know if I'm going to like writing everything over top of it, because that's sort of what you do. You fill it in, you know, as you need to with events and such, and I don't know if I'll like the fact that I'm covering the date. So we'll see, but it's definitely fun to try something new, and I ended up actually liking the way it looked, so we'll see if it's functional. And then the next page is my habit tracker, and I've done this a few ways. I found a format that I really like, and it's sort of these like big blocks and then little calendars underneath them. So the blocks that I'm making right now are actually going to be labeled with the habit that I'm trying to track, and underneath each one I'm going to have a full February calendar. Now usually I do a full page of a habit tracker, so this will be kind of centered, and I'll actually have, I think 6 is usually what I have, but this month I'm doing 4, and I'm picking just like very manageable habits that I can feel accomplished, kind of highlighting and checking off every day. But I'm going to do something different with this page. I'm actually going to be cutting it a little bit later, so I'm not using the other half of it. I want it to kind of be like a flip through page, so you can actually see the page that's beneath it. So I'll show you guys that once I do it, but I'm just doing the tedious task of writing all of those tiny, tiny little numbers, which takes a decent amount of time, but not as long as you would think. So I really like the way that it looks, and I think it's worth it, but you guys definitely don't have to do this. So I'm going to just erase kind of all the guidelines that I had created, and then I'm actually just going to go right onto the other page, and we'll come back to that one. Now this one is just sort of like monthly things to keep in mind, if that makes sense. So you can really personalize this as much as you want. For example, like one of my New Year's resolutions is to read like 12 books, which I know might not sound like a lot to some people, but that's a book a month, and just making sure that I'm kind of like hitting that number. So last month I actually read Three Women by Lisa Taddeo. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce her last name, but it was a great book, definitely mature content, so make sure that you're okay with that. But it was a good book, and then I think this month I'm going to try and read She Said. But yeah, I'm just kind of filling them in and giving the amount of space that I want. So I have a space for kind of the monthly focus, like what am I trying to do this month? Intentions, I try and write intentions instead of goals, so it's not, you know, bad if I don't reach them. A little space for next month, just because I found that I needed that last month. I needed to be able to like write what dates are coming up, and then for me, since I'm obviously doing YouTube, just writing down what videos I want to make this month. And then to continue the outer space theme, I put a little random rocket ship and planet and stars, because why not? And I actually thought it turned out pretty cute, so I really like this. I think even after this video, I'm probably going to go in and kind of fill in the space with a little bit more to do with the theme, which I think will be fun. It's kind of like an evolution. Your bullet journal can kind of build how you want it to all throughout the month. It doesn't have to be done the day that you kind of finish laying everything out. But yeah, so I'm just kind of erasing everything, and then I'm going to go back to this page, and originally I thought I would use an X-Acto knife, but I found it extremely difficult to figure out how to film me cutting with an X-Acto knife and keep everything in frame. So I'm just using scissors, and I'm kind of cutting this into a flip-through page. So this way now I can kind of see my focus, intentions, and what's coming up next month when I'm looking at my calendar and my habits. And then the less important stuff, like what book I read this month and my video lineup is on kind of the back side of it. So I don't quite know what I'm going to do on the back of the habit tracker page. I'm thinking maybe of drawing an astronaut or something, or maybe I'll just leave it blank, or just as like a creative space that I can like leave notes and stuff in if I need it, and it's covered so it looks nice and neat. But I'm going to go on and move on to my weekly spreads. This will be what I do for every week of the month. I'm going to be starting it with full weeks, so this won't start until February 3rd. But I'm going to keep this pretty simple because it's something that I need to recreate. I'm not doing all of them at the beginning of the month. Sometimes I do that when they're a more complicated design because I know that I won't feel like doing it a different time. I'll just kind of want it done. But this one's really simple, and it's, again, a new format for me. So I saw this again on Pinterest, and it was just like a nice way to keep everything organized, but really simple to set up. So what I'm making right now is actually just like a little 7-box grid, I guess you could say, so one for each day of the week. And this is where I'm going to be writing like important events or deadlines that I have each day. And then I'm actually just going to be doing a to-do list every other day. And for me, in my life right now, that just makes more sense. So I can kind of look at the week overall and see like what I have going on in those days. And then each day I can kind of designate as much space as I want for a to-do list. And I'm just kind of emphasizing it again with that like watercolor pen. I really liked the way that it looked, so I thought I would use it. I'm also going to make a spot for weekly goals or weekly focuses and intentions. This is just to kind of keep me on track, make sure that I'm doing things that I need to do, and make sure I'm taking time for things that I want to take time for. I didn't end up really liking how the thin line looked, so I thought I would go over it with like a thicker pen. And I just kind of like outlined just the outside a little bit in. It's sort of an homage to the page beforehand that we did. And because I had already done the previous grid setup, I used that thin pen again, but I probably would have just done like nothing in between there if I could go back. And then I'm just writing the first day, which is Monday, and my to-do list. This is where I make the one mistake that I was really unhappy with, which is using this pen, which I thought would be light like the other watercolor pen, but it wasn't. It was so pigmented. So you can kind of barely see the Monday on camera, but you can actually see it in person, so it wasn't that bad. And I'll just continue to make those little spaces as the week goes on. And then I'm just writing in my habits. So this month it's just yoga, supplements, dry brushing, and what was my last one? Oh, early rise. Yeah, that's the big one. So yeah, that is my spread for this February. Like I said, I keep things pretty simple, pretty minimal. I don't do a lot of color just because I don't want to pull out a lot of pens throughout the month. I'll just like never keep up with it otherwise. But maybe in the future I'll do more color. So yeah, this is my monthly spread, my habit tracker. Still trying to figure out what to put on that back side. And then I have kind of my monthly goals, all that stuff, and my first weekly spread. So if you guys have an idea of what I should put on that back side of the habit tracker, let me know in the comments down below. Otherwise, also let me know if you guys enjoyed this video, if you want me to do more of them, if you'd rather see it on Instagram. Yeah, just keep me posted. But this is just a really great way for me to clear my mind, and I actually felt a lot better after doing this. So thank you guys for allowing me the opportunity to do this week. This was definitely the video that I needed to make. And yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful month of February, and I will see you all next week.